Happy New Year! Welcome to the Flexitarian Feast. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Eliz, and we are two home cooks trying to eat more plants. Thank you for joining us. This episode is all about meal planning and recipe management.
It's a new year, and getting organized in the kitchen is a great resolution. And we have a special surprise at the end of this episode for all of our listeners. Thank you so much for listening.
It's a good surprise.
It really is. This is fun.
Yeah.
So meal planning is a topic that I'm super excited about because I'm always trying to get better at this. And I really love hearing everyone's ideas about how to do it, how to be better at it, tips and tricks. And I kind of struggle with just keeping up consistency and doing it regularly. Sometimes I just get bored of planning stuff out. So, Eliz, I know you use cookbooks a lot, but how does your weekly planning go?
Well, as you know, I'm a very big meal planner. I actually have a weekly meal plan newsletter that I send out. If you would like to sign up, you can go to my website at elizroser.com and sign up there. I used to be a lot more flexible with meals, but since I've had kids, we eat on a schedule. And so it's too hard and too stressful for me to not have a plan for dinner. So I'm a big meal planner now. I also really don't like food waste, and so this is a great way to reduce that. I write my meal plan on Saturday mornings, so I have a whole process that I do for my meal plan. So first I look in the fridge and the freezer to see if there's anything in there I want to use up. Then I will look at my calendar to see what we have going on in the upcoming week, if one of us is going out for dinner or if we have plans. You know, if Ryan's going out and I'm on my own for dinner and bedtime, then I'm not going to serve rice because that's like a huge cleanup issue. So I think about that. And then I also think about the weather. So if it's going to be sunny, we'll probably go to the park. And so I don't want to have to like roast vegetables for an hour. So I just have to think about like my timing in the afternoons. And then I also think about what grocery store I'm going to. So I mostly do my weekly shopping at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, but I also do a big Costco run every couple months. And I also go to Fred Meyer's, which is like a Kroger grocery store here in Portland. I do that every now and then too. So I almost always only grocery shop once a week. I don't have time to go more than that. So whatever store I'm planning on going to affects my meal plan. So for example, if I want to make polenta at Trader Joe's, they only have the tube polenta. They don't have the stovetop polenta. So, you know, if we're out of oatmeal, I buy my oatmeal at Trader Joe's. So I'm not going to go, I'm not going to be able to get the stovetop polenta. Right. So I just have to think about like, if I'm only going to one store, what's going to fit in the meal plan?
Like, what's the priority?
What's the priority? Because, I mean, of course, if you feel like you have room in your life to go to more than one grocery store, like go for it. But I usually don't.
Yeah, I try not to go to multiple stores too. Also, my main reason for that is because I don't have a car.
Oh,
so,
yeah, definitely.
I just stop on my way home, or I'll come home and take my husband's car, but I still only want to go to one place.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's all about being as efficient as possible. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
So then I usually pick a cookbook or two, and I just look through it and see what looks good. I think about what everybody in the family likes to eat, but I also think about what I want to eat, because if I'm going to do all this work, I want to eat food that tastes good to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I do use some online recipes too. I do read a lot of cooking blogs. I know you read a lot of cooking blogs also. But I have found that cookbooks are more reliable generally.
I think you're right about that.
Because they've been tested more. I mean, there are some blogs that I think are really well tested.
That I really love,
and I respect the writers of those blogs. But there are a lot of like crappy food blogs out there.
Absolutely.
And it makes me so frustrated because I think when people are trying a new recipe and it doesn't work out, they blame themselves. But no, like maybe the food blog is terrible.
Sometimes the recipe's written poorly.
Or they didn't test it. Or they used, you know, a certain type of produce at a certain time of year and it didn't taste good if you had off-season produce or whatever.
That's true.
So,
good point.
I just feel really strongly that food blogs should be a little bit more responsible.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about that for sure. There's definitely some that are better than others. A lot that could use improvement, probably.
Oh, definitely. And so I usually plan to make 3 to 4 meals during the week, and I always leave one night for leftovers or for going out. And then Friday nights, we usually have pizza, either homemade, or sometimes we get delivery pizza. And then as I'm writing my meal plan, I write my grocery list on a separate piece of paper. And then once it's done, I double check the grocery list to make sure we don't already have something. And then I reorganize the grocery list by section of the store, so it's like really fast to go grocery shopping. So that sounds like a lot of work, I know, just to write my meal plan. But when I sat down to like think about what do I actually do, it is a lot of things. But now that I've been doing it for such a long time, it doesn't take more than an hour, especially if nobody's interrupting me. I can just like sit down and like get it done.
Yeah, you have a system.
Yeah.
And also your newsletter is great. I love it every week.
Thank you.
So you guys should definitely subscribe to it if you need ideas or just to hear Eliz's little voice in her email more.
You can see what we're eating every week.
You can see what they're eating every week.
So what do you do?
So I just kind of, I don't know how to, I do something completely different from you, like in almost every respect.
As you should. Everybody should do whatever works best.
So I try to just pick a few things that I want to make each week, and I don't really set days that I want to do it. So I'll just pick like 3 things, go to the store for those 3 things, and I'll count on at least 1 or 2 of them making leftovers. So, because the leftover dinners are, I'll eat leftovers for like 1 day or 2 days if it's really good. Or usually I'll eat it for lunch and then dinner, and then lunch. But I don't like eating the same thing over and over again. So I'll try to plan for at least 1 or 2 things to leave enough leftovers for either lunch or dinner. And then I'll just go to the store and buy all that stuff. And then I'll kind of just pick what I feel like making on whatever date. Like last week, I couldn't decide what to do first. So I just asked my husband, I'm making these 3 things. Which one do you want first? And he picked that, and I made that, and then we just went from there.
Perfect.
So I try to make it pretty flexible all around. And then I also noticed that I don't really stick to anything that I plan for the weekend. So I don't do that anymore. And I just plan breakfasts on the weekend. So, because I like making breakfast. It's kind of my main thing, but I don't really do it during the week at all because I'm always trying to get out the door and catch my bus. Yeah, so on the weekends, I'll plan like more elaborate breakfast, and then we'll kind of just scrap whatever we have for lunch, scrap around the house, find whatever, or we'll go out to happy hour. Our schedule's always later too because it's like we're sleeping in.
Right.
Lunch is like at 3, and then we're like, it's just messed up. So I don't really plan for dinners on the weekend, only during the week.
Yeah, I don't really plan for weekend meals either because we are out and about more or whatever.
Things just come up.
Yeah, or like we pack a lunch to whatever.
Right.
So I do, though, will often do on Sunday nights. That's when Ryan will watch the kids and I can try a new recipe and really focus on it because during the week, it's like, I'm just trying to get dinner on the table.
Right, it's like a time crunch.
People are kids are interrupting me every 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like they need something or God knows what. So on Sundays, it's like, I can really just focus on something that's complicated or I have to really pay attention.
Yeah, that makes sense. Something that takes more time.
Yeah. And I do leftovers and stuff on the weekends too because I grocery shop on Sundays. And so I want to have a cleaned out fridge for my grocery shopping.
Yeah, that's smart and good way to make sure you're using everything up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of prep for your meals through the week on Sundays when you do that or no?
I don't do a ton of meal prep. I do a little bit. I'll make salad dressing or last week I made pickled onions and I used them a couple times for garnish this week. Yeah, they're so easy too. But I'm home with my kids during the week. And so it's easy for me to do a little meal prep here and there because I'm at home. So there's a podcast I really like called The Lazy Genius. Have you ever listened to her podcast?
I haven't, no.
The woman who does it is named Kendra Adachi. And she... one of her meal planning questions is what can you do now that will make dinner easier later? So if you find yourself at breakfast waiting for your coffee to brew, is there anything you can do to make dinner easier later? Can you chop a sweet potato and so it's ready to go? Or I even do things I'll put out the pots and pans that I need or if I'm making pasta, I will fill it up with water and set it out on the stove in the morning. I just try to find little pockets of time just to get it done.
Yeah, it kind of makes a shortcut later.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing that I do is when I get home from work, I'll try to just prep everything right away before I even sit down on the couch because I can't relax until if I have chores to do, I can't relax. So I'll come home, do the dishes, and then chop whatever that, if it's not going to be weird if it's chopped early. And then I can sit, play on my phone, watch Jeopardy, whatever, and then just cook. Everything's already ready, and I can just throw it together when we're ready to eat.
Yeah, that's so nice to have everything prepped like that, too.
Yeah, it just makes it seem faster, cooking it faster because I already did all the prep stuff.
Exactly. It's like you're on a cooking show.
Exactly. See, I like that trick.
I mentioned that I use cookbooks a lot, but Michelle, I know you have 1 million online recipes that you somehow organize, so I would love to hear about that.
I feel like I could talk for an hour about this, but so I used to just save everything in a web browser or email stuff to myself. For a while, I was using this app called Evernote, which is a free app, and it does work pretty well. It's not meant for recipes. It's just a note-taking app, but if you want to take the time to copy and paste stuff into it, that's what I used to do. But I've been using this app for a few years now called Paprika. It is basically changed my life. I don't know. I feel like such a crazy person when I talk about this because it really has like taken over my life. But so it's not a free app. You have to pay for it on every device you want to use it on. So that kind of stinks. But I have it on my phone. My husband has it on his phone. And then we have it on the iPad. So it all syncs together. So the way it works is there's this little bookmarklet thing that you put in your browser. So when you're reading blogs, if there's a recipe you want to save, you just click the little thing. It saves it up to your cloud. And then you can access it on the app. There's also like a desktop version, but I've never used that, so I don't know how that works. But so when I am trying to figure out what to make, I'll go into my app and I'll like either sort it by most recent, or you can search by title or ingredient or source or pretty much any word that you want. The thing about Evernote I liked was it has a really great search feature where you can search like any combination of words and it scans everything. Paprika, you can kind of only do like the specific phrase or word. It doesn't search as broadly, but it still works pretty well. So like if I have, right now I have like this weird, not weird, but I just got a chayote squash. I've never used it before. So I was like, do I have any recipes saved with that? And so I searched and I had a couple, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But so you can search by specific thing, which is kind of handy. So it also has a calendar. So you can go through, pick your recipes that you want, and you can save them to dates on the calendar for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you can also create a grocery list from either per day or week or just from a recipe. So it adds it into a grocery list. You can also use the app. It'll help you. It can scale a recipe. So if you want to double it or half it, it adjusts all the measurements for you.
That's amazing.
It only saves the recipe part from the blogs too, not all the intro talking part. So it's pretty cool. But it also has the link, so you can still click through and read if you want to read like their more detailed, notes or whatever. So yeah, and then using on the iPad is what I do when I'm cooking, because it kind of shows it all on one screen. In the phone, you have to kind of slide between tabs like ingredients and directions. But in the iPad, it shows it all in one view.
Oh, that's nice.
Kind of like a cookbook. So you don't have to like keep flipping back and forth while you're cooking. You just look at it and it's like, chop up an onion, whatever. The amounts are like right there next to what you're doing. So anyway, I'm basically just totally obsessed with this app. It just is the best thing ever. And so, sometimes when I do look through my cookbook sometimes, and if I find a recipe I really want to make, sometimes I'll try to find it on the internet so I can save it in my app. So then I can add it to my calendar.
Have it all in the same place.
Yeah. You can also just add notes. Like if I made something the other day that was a chicken thing, but I made it with tempeh. So I saved the recipe to the day, and then I put a little note to myself, like to make it with tempeh instead of chicken. So I would remember what my thought process was. So anyway, you can also categorize it. Like if you're really like categories and you want to sort by breakfast or something, you can do that. But it's a little tedious on the phone, so I haven't bothered doing it. But if I ever get the desktop one, I might do that, just so I could be like.
So how many recipes do you have saved in there?
Oh gosh, I don't have my phone in here, or I'd look, but it's thousands. I told you I'm a recipe hoarder.
I love it though.
But yeah, it's kind of nice that I can always find a million options for whatever I want to make. Or if, my husband will be
and
like,
there are already things that you've already vetted, and so you're not like Googling a recipe.
Yeah, and you can also save, mark things as a favorite. So a lot of the things I make over and over, like Instant Pot rice or whatever. So you probably have a way that you keep track of the things you make all the time.
Yes.
So yeah. So what do you do to keep track of those things that you make all the time?
Well, I actually do have a way I keep track of that, and I write it on a Post-it and stick it inside of my cabinet door.
Oh, yeah. That's smart.
It's like super old school.
It's super easy access.
But I do that with brown rice, because I make brown rice in the Instant Pot all the time, but I can never remember.
Yeah. There's a few that I'm starting to remember. That's one of them. And
so I just stick it in the door of the cabinet. And I also have there's a oatmeal pancake recipe that I make probably once a week.
Yeah.
And I kind of know it, but I just have it in the cabinet door. Yeah. And I have a muffin recipe that I also make a lot too. So
it's cool to have them easily accessible.
Yeah. I keep a Play-Doh recipe in my cabinet door too.
Do you make that a lot?
I do make Play-Doh a lot, yeah.
That's fun.
It's so easy.
Do you dye it too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah. And right now we have Play-Doh that has googly eyes in it, which is really fun.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
So I am just amazed that you do all of this recipe tracking. And I think it's great because I use cookbooks mostly, and it's just in my head.
Yeah.
And so I don't use all of my cookbooks. There's probably 6 or 7 that I use frequently, and I know what's in there. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, ooh, I want to make, parsnip muffins. Oh, that's in this cookbook. And I know that now because I've use it so many times, but I have a lot of cookbooks that I don't use very often just because I don't know what's in there.
Yeah, that's another thing I'll do sometimes is if like I have a random, like I said, I have that weird squash, or if I have I just feel like I want to make something with broccoli, but I want to find a different thing to do.
Yeah.
Then I'll just search broccoli and I'll just look through all my recipes that have broccoli in the title or in the ingredients, and then I'll just pick a few and I'll talk to my husband and be like, should I make one of these? Like, so I don't know. It's very digital. So I know like cookbooks are so great because they're beautiful photos, and I'll do that sometimes too with my cookbooks. So I'll just get a few out and I'll be like, I got broccoli to make, and I'll just look through
them
in the index, like broccoli recipes, and see if anything sticks out to me. So I just don't do it as much as I should because I'm really, really into my app. And I mean,
if that works for you, you should just keep doing it that way.
I do love it. But I love cookbooks too. So I feel like I'm like they're wasting away on my shelf.
No
but
way.
I like
you can just read
them.
them. Just like look at them for inspiration.
Yeah,
That's a good way to look at cookbooks too.
So how do you make a meal plan that actually works?
Well, kind of like I said earlier, I don't think meal planning is going to work for everybody. And so I think there's a lot of cultural pressure to be a meal planner or a meal prepper. And if you're happy with the way dinner is going, like you don't need to meal plan.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like I'm doing it bad.
I don't think so at all. I think that's a really good way to do it, to just pick like 3 meals. And I really only pick 3 or 4 a week. And then we filled in with leftovers or out to eat or like clean out the fridge night or whatever.
I wish I was better about making my lunch. That's the thing I always feel like I want to do better at, but I really do not do that consistently at all.
Yeah. So I say if you want to start meal planning, just keep it very simple. So pick the hardest day of the week for you in your life and your schedule and make that a leftovers day or an out to eat day if you can do that. For me, Thursdays are really hard because it's like the end of the week, and Fridays, at least Friday feels like it's the weekend. Right. So it's like I
less
made
pressure.
Yeah, less pressure, but Thursdays are really hard. So we always do leftovers on Thursdays. And if we don't have enough leftovers, then we go out, or I just like scramble some eggs and we eat it with like whatever leftovers there are. So you definitely plan a night like that during the week, because then you're really not having to cook a new meal every night.
I really like that idea of picking the hardest day. Our schedule kind of varies every week, so I feel like that's kind of hard. That's why I just try to make it flexible, because I never know.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to be doing.
And some days it's like, my husband travels a lot for work, but sometimes he's home. So when he's home, he usually doesn't eat a big lunch. But if I go out to lunch, then when I get home, he's starving and I'm not ready for dinner yet.
Exactly.
So then I always have to have like snacks around or something to like make it up, because I'm like, I'm not ready for dinner yet. It's 5:00. So I try to be really flexible that way. So it's kind of hard to pick like a bad day for me, because it just feel like every week is different. But I do like having the like Friday go out, or Friday.
Right.
I like Fridays to be like, I'm going to stay home in my pajamas, watch a movie, and I want it to be easy. So I'm either going to cook something easy or maybe leftovers or order food.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I think
like
that's great.
idea.
Like plan for your leftovers, plan for your out to eat or your pizza
Absolutely.
or whatever. And then it's like you have a plan for it. You can look forward to it.
It makes it easier.
Exactly. I know that some people also do themes so every day, like every Monday you do meatless Monday or Taco Tuesday or Pasta Wednesday. Yeah. And if I'm like, I don't know what to make, I'm like, let's have, eggs on Monday and like Taco Tuesday. Like, let's have like tacos or Mexican food or something on Tuesday.
Even having one of those things, like if you always do Taco Tuesday and that's the only
then
thing.
Then you're done. You know what you're having on Tuesday.
You know what you're having on Tuesday.
And there's a million ways to make tacos. So if you want variety, you can do that. And for me, like tacos is a great kid meal because they can just make it how they want.
Yeah.
And it's a really good way to customize. So it's like, that's like a no-brainer.
Yes. That's such an easy meal.
It's such an easy dinner.
For sure.
And we always do pizza on Fridays. So we either get it delivered. Yeah, nice. I usually make pizza, but sometimes we get it delivered, or sometimes we do frozen pizza.
Do you have a pizza stone?
I do not have a pizza stone.
I don't either. Over the summer, we made pizza a few times. I had some trouble previously, like in the past, where it just didn't work out. Like it stuck to the pan.
I really want to learn how to make it better. I use like a mix, a Bob's Red Mill pizza dough, gluten-free pizza dough mix, and so I just put it on like a 9x, like a big sheet pan. But I would like to learn how to make real pizza dough.
Does it usually turn out well?
Yeah, I think it turns out really good. I think it's like the best gluten-free pizza dough option. But I was telling you earlier, I'm eating sourdough now.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would really like to learn how to make sourdough pizza. And I feel like it would be easier to work with because it would have some gluten in it.
That makes sense. The most successful ones we've had were from buying pizza dough, like not from Trader Joe's or whatever, but like a lot of pizza places,
shops, yeah.
like Hot Lips here in Portland, you can buy dough from them, and they have two
that's good to know.
sizes. So that one's worked really well. And I recommended this to a friend who's gluten-free, to if there's a pizza place you like that has gluten-free pizza, to ask them if they do that with gluten-free pizza dough, because they might. So
if you're in Portland, Mississippi Pizza has really good pizza dough, and they do sell their doughs, but they're par baked. They're not like a dough.
Okay. That's
so
kinda
it's
cool,
actually
though.
like so easy.
It's like Papa Murphy's.
It is just so you just throw the toppings on, and I've actually grilled those with like a lot of success.
Nice,
so.
that's awesome.
We should do a pizza episode.
Should we?
Yeah. Okay. First, I'm going to learn how to make sourdough pizza, and then we'll do a pizza episode.
Okay, and I'll get better at it. I think the themes is really a smart way to get your whole family involved, because a lot of times I get bored with planning all this stuff, and I try to bug my husband to help me, but he's just not, like, he eats whatever I make, and he never complains. So he's never like, ooh, why don't you make that thing I really like? Because he really likes everything I make. So sometimes I just get a little bored. So getting your people involved and like excited about it, the themes is a good way to do that. I think.
Totally. I get Ada involved too. She's 4, and I'll be like, you can pick dinner. And she'll usually pick something that's pretty good, or I can work around it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I like that.
She usually picks shrimp. She loves shrimp. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
Kids love shrimp.
Ooh, I love shrimp too.
I mean,
when
I like
was
it too.
a kid, when we would go to Sizzler,
Oh
that's
my
the only thing I would eat was the shrimp.
Exactly. Ryan always talks about going to, you mean Sizzler.
Sizzler.
Yeah, I love going out to eat, but it does get expensive. And Charlie, our 2-year-old, is a little bit wild sometimes. And like all 2-year-olds are, it's just really hard to go out to eat with a 2-year-old. So we don't do it that often. But I do like to go out to try to get some inspiration or variety. And we're really trying to introduce our kids to as much new foods as possible. So if I am introducing a new food in the meal plan, I always try to make sure that there's other foods on the plate that are things that they like to eat. So tonight, I made pozole. I put the hominy on the plate. They didn't have soup. I just had I had like chicken.
Oh, that's funny.
Hominy,
not even like
cheese.
a little bit of broth?
No, because they won't eat it. And I made a spicy broth because I know they don't really like soup.
So just all the components.
It's just like all the components of the soup. And then which they've had all that food before. And then I had a watermelon radish, which is a new food for them.
So pretty.
It's beautiful. It is kind of spicy, but I just put it on the plate. And
have they had regular radishes?
They've tried them. Okay. They don't like them because they're too spicy. Yeah. But they didn't freak out about the watermelon radish on the plate because it's like there's cheese and there's chicken and there's all kinds of stuff that they like. So I also, if I'm doing like a really like a kind of a wild new food, like, I don't know, like a quiche or something. I'm just kidding. I don't know, something that's just really different. I will make a plan to serve dessert that night, or like maybe I'll make like a banana bread, or I'll get some special fruit that we don't usually get. And so it's like they know that dessert's coming, or I will sometimes serve dessert along with dinner.
That's really smart. I like that idea.
And then it's like they don't fuss about the new food and they'll usually try it too because, they're eating and they might as well
that
try
actually reminded me of my sister-in-law told me this thing recently that she kind of gets got her kids eating in courses, or she does this sometimes like if they're being weird about vegetables or whatever, because if she was like, if I put macaroni and cheese and carrots and hummus on the plate, they're going to eat all the mac and cheese and not eat anything else. So she's started serving them like the vegetable thing first and being like, eat this, and if you eat
That's so smart.
then you can have mac and cheese. So then they're looking forward to it. It's kind of similar to you're like, you get dessert if you eat this.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
I'll let my kids like snack on raw vegetables while I'm prepping dinner.
Yeah.
Because I don't let them snack before dinner usually, but if I'm prepping and they're like helping me, like yesterday they were like picking all the cilantro off the stem and like eating the cilantro. And I'm like, that's great. Like,
that's so funny.
Eat as much cilantro as you want. So something that we should talk about is, what do you do when your meal plan like blows up? It just doesn't work. Maybe you get home from work late, or you're tired, or everyone's crying, or you're grumpy, or you just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Or this happens to me a lot. You forget to defrost something.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, I guess we're not having that tonight because I never defrosted it. I think that's totally okay. That happens.
Yeah.
I love meal planning, and that happens to me, frequently.
Yeah, me too.
We just have to bail. And so I like to have a couple things in the pantry at all times so I can whip up something very fast. And because I always plan a leftovers night, then I can just move things around so I don't waste food. Do you do that too? Well,
I like to have some things just on hand. Like tonight, I had this loose plan. I was going to figure out something to do with that squash that I mentioned 5 times, or however many times I already mentioned it. Just sitting there, and I keep thinking about it. Like, what am I going to do with that squash? So I had that, and then I had some like mushrooms, and I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to wing it. And then my husband's like, can we order pizza? And I was like, yes, let's just order pizza. I'll figure that out tomorrow because I don't know. But also just like having stuff in the pantry. If I don't feel like going to the grocery store, because a lot of times I will just stop at the store on my way home from work. Like I said, I'm on the bus, so I go right by Whole Foods. So if I just want to get a couple of vegetables, it's easy to stop there.
Yeah.
But sometimes if it's like really rainy or it's freezing or I'm wearing the wrong shoes to like walk around, like sometimes I'm like my feet hurt or my back's hurting or
You're just
whatever
not into
it is.
You just can't do it.
No, I'm just going straight home. Then I like to have some stuff on hand. So like, what are some easy things that you always have?
Quesadillas are a big one for us. So we always have. So I always have canned refried beans, and we just like sprinkle some cheese on a tortilla. You can microwave it. You can put it in the oven if you want. You could toast it in the pan if you want.
Yeah.
But it's all
delicious,
good.
Yeah.
And I usually serve it with black olives because everybody likes that.
Oh, yeah.
Scrambled eggs and a toast is good. And I will add a smoothie sometimes too, so the kids get some fruit. Breakfast for dinner. Classic, very easy. Toasted cheese sandwiches, which are even easier than grilled cheese because you just put the cheese on the bread and put it in the oven until it melts. Easy peasy. Veggies and hummus is another one.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
That counts as dinner.
Totally.
Pasta with frozen peas. That is a great vegetarian dinner.
Yeah.
You just put some butter on there, some cheese, and then frozen peas.
Yeah. Call it cacio e pepe.
Done. Yeah. Just crack a little pepper on there and you're super fancy.
Italian, but I don't either. If you put pepper on there, it's cacio e pepe with peas.
With peas. And peas are a really great source of protein and fiber. They're super healthy. So, and then also.
They're frozen. So you probably always have them.
Always have frozen peas.
I've never bought fresh peas. Have you?
I have bought fresh peas just because Ada loves to eat them so much. And at Trader Joe's, they sometimes have fresh shell peas.
I've never seen them. I've never bought them.
I think frozen peas are great. I think it's one of the best frozen vegetables you can buy.
Yeah. And it's nice to have stuff in the freezer too.
Totally. Yeah, we always have frozen pizza,
which
I know is like not delicious. Do that too. Whatever, it's fine.
A lot of times I'll add extra stuff to them. Like we'll get a really plain one, and then I'll always add olives, or if I have mushrooms or like fresh tomatoes.
Yeah, anything, you can totally dress up a frozen
leftover
pizza.
Vegetables that are already cooked, just throw them on there.
Exactly.
So yeah.
What are some of your pantry meals?
Well, I do love this idea, and I need to have some more like back pocket ideas. But I think your quesadillas thing is great. But I was thinking of like tacos or wraps because anything inside of a tortilla, it's going to be good. It's
easy. It's delicious.
Even if sometimes I'm like, I don't want a salad. If you put it in a tortilla and it's a wrap.
Fancy. That's so like fancy. Doesn't take much.
No. I also always have boxed mac and cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think I mentioned before, that's one of the few things my husband will make if I'm gone.
Perfect.
Also, I love it too. So
it's good. You can add frozen pizza
and
that too.
You can add frozen pizza, frozen broccoli, or again, any other leftover vegetables. You could add
canned tuna. That's another great easy dinner. Tuna sandwiches.
Yeah, or add tuna into your mac and cheese. You know what else you can put in there? Pesto.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
My new thing that I like to have on hand is frozen pot stickers. Because they're really easy. You can have them just plain. You can put them in a soup. Like you can heat up some broth and
make
put them
like
in
a dumpling soup. That sounds good.
Have edamame on the side, also another frozen vegetable.
Oh, yeah. We always have edamame too. That's a good one.
Yeah, another one I like to do is ramen. There's this brand of ramen that I've been buying that I think the name is like Mio or something like that. They're not as cheap as the cheap ones that are like probably really bad for you, but they're good. And then I'll just add in like tofu, which I always have tofu in the fridge too. And like any vegetables, green onions, sesame seeds.
Beautiful.
Easy. And you can always add extra seasonings too, like add hot sauce, add sesame oil, whatever you have. So,
have you tried that frozen orange chicken? And I think they also have a not chicken version from Trader Joe's.
I've tried the orange chicken one a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's good.
I feel like a lot of like blogs and like parenting Facebook groups are always talking about that orange chicken. And they do have a vegan version of it also.
I've never tried the vegan one. My sister has a really good recipe for that. She talks about it a lot, so I'll get it from her.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I know she makes it a lot for her family. It's chicken. Right. But she just makes it herself. So she said it's just like the Trader Joe's one. So I'll get the recipe. I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, I've never gotten it because it has gluten in it. Yeah, I think that if you want to have just a couple frozen things on hand for when your meal plan fails, you should do that.
Absolutely. I'm a big
There's
fan
no
of that.
shame in a little bit of frozen food, you know?
No, you know what I've also done is like I've made a whole bunch of burritos and put them in the freezer, like wrapped them up.
That's genius.
And took them for lunch. One time we made pierogies. And
my gosh, I haven't thought about pierogies in such a long time.
If you're going to make any kind of dumpling, just make a billion of them and put them in the freezer.
Exactly. Freeze it all.
So I'm a big fan of the freezer.
Me too.
Also veggie broth.
There's one more thing I wanted to mention. Those Brazzi bites. Do you ever buy these?
Oh, I have bought them once. They're really good. They're like cheesy little bread balls.
I love them. I got them at Costco and accidentally got like the Asiago pepper version, and they like obsessed with them.
Oh my gosh. You know what else is really good? The IKEA veggie meatballs are really good.
Oh yeah,
and
they are
sell
really
them in the
good.
store. The regular ones are pretty good too. I used to always have those on hand for soups, but I haven't bought them in a long time. But the veggie ones, they kind of have
they're
like
gluten-free too.
I think they are. And the veggie ones kind of have like a curry flavor.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're not the same as like regular Swedish meatballs, but they're really
the
good.
IKEA food is so good. It's
they
so
do a good
cheap
job.
and good. We should go have
We should go have an IKEA date.
Dinner at IKEA sometime, Michelle.
Sure. Okay.
All right, so let's move on to our special surprise,
Eek.
which is a giveaway.
Yay, I'm so excited.
So we are going to give away a copy of a cookbook that we both love, which is 6 Seasons, A New Way with Vegetables by Joshua McFadden. It is a beautiful book. It's focused mainly on vegetables. It's organized seasonally. We both love it. It is super helpful for meal planning or just like reading in bed. If you want to read a cookbook in bed, it's beautiful.
Also, like there's vegetables in there that I've never heard of. So,
Me too.
Like, you're like, oh, this vegetable's in season. What is it? Maybe I'll look for it at the farmer's market or whatever.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So it's a good cookbook. So to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Most of our listeners seem to be listening on there. And if you already left a review, I know there's a couple of friends that have. You're entered too. Thank you so much. And if you listen somewhere else, go to our website, theflexitarianfeast.com. And in the show notes for this episode, there'll be a little widget thing that you can fill in to enter the giveaway. And also, if your Apple name is something that's not easy to find you, like if we don't already know you in real life, go on the website too and enter in your Apple name and email address so we can contact you if you win. Because there's not an easy way to like look up who you are on there if it's not like your name or something. So you can enter until our next episode is released, and then we're going to announce the winner on that date, January 15th, on our Instagram page and also in the show notes for that episode on January 15th.
That's so exciting.
I know, it's so exciting. I hope it works out. I hope somebody gets this book that will really love it.
Me too. I think they will love it.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident anybody would love this book.
Me too. Also, if you already have it, you can still enter and you could give it as a gift.
It would be a great gift.
Great gift.
Maybe Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, it is coming up.
All right, now it's time for our recent feast segment where we each talk about a delicious meal we have made recently. Michelle, what do you have for us this week?
Well, this might not be super exciting, but I made cheeseburgers, but I used Beyond Meat
Ooh, I wanted to
patties.
try them.
So they kind of recently came out with a new formula. We had tried the old one and we really liked it, but this new one is supposedly better, so we wanted to try it. I just cooked them how they said to cook it on the package, and then I got brioche buns at Trader Joe's, and then we just had mayonnaise, ketchup, mustard, dill pickles, crunchy lettuce, tomatoes, American cheese, of course, because it's the best.
Of course.
And then we normally go out for burgers, and when we do that, we share. So it was kind of fun to have my own. And then I just made
the little thing.
Yeah, and I just made frozen French fries, which frozen French fries and sweet potato fries is another thing I keep in the freezer.
Oh, yeah.
Because sometimes it's just
I
easier.
do love sweet potato fries.
I love sweet potato fries.
Do you ever do tots?
Yes, I like doing tots too.
Yeah.
So anyway, what about you? What have you made recently that's
So I
delicious?
also made a very simple recipe. I feel like this is really great for the new year if you feel like you've been eating a lot of very heavy foods.
Oh, yeah.
This was a vegan carrot soup with miso and sesame from Smitten Kitchen. I think she posted it originally in January. It was like maybe one of her like New Year's Day post in like some year. It's really good. You just cook carrots, onion, and garlic in a pot until the onions are translucent. Then you add broth and ginger and cover it and simmer until the carrots are soft. I use that miso ginger vegetable broth from Trader Joe's. Have you ever tried that?
I tried it recently with some pot stickers from the freezer.
Yeah, that's a great,
It was good because
it's really
so
good.
easy and like already.
I usually just have one around. I mean, you're supposed to just use vegetable broth,
hand.
but I think it's really good.
It's really well flavored.
It's super well flavored, and it's delicious. Anyways, then you just blend it all up, and so the carrots get all blended, and then you add like a big scoop of miso, and then you can top it with some sesame oil on top. And it was very delicious. It's supposed to taste, and it does taste kind of like that carrot dressing you might get at a Japanese restaurant.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, with like the miso and the ginger, and
that does sound really good.
She also suggests topping it, garnishing with scallions, and then maybe even pickling those scallions, which I didn't do because I just made this for lunch.
You know what else would be a good topping? I had made this really simple like blended soup recipe, and I'm not a big fan of blended soups. I like chunkier soups.
Yeah.
But this recipe had a topping of like fried crispy tofu.
Yum.
And
Yeah,
you
that
could
would be
like
great
add
with
that on
this.
top of any
Yeah,
soup.
that would make this more like a dinner soup. I mean, it is a very light
or
soup.
beans. You could add beans to that too, like garbanzo beans would be good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Anyway, just trying to think of ways to add more protein. That's what I'm always thinking of.
Yeah, this was definitely more of like a light.
Yeah, but it sounds good.
It was delicious.
It sounds really good and super.
I mean, you could even make like little sushi rolls, or you know what's? I went to a sushi making class, and they took those seaweed snacks, which are those small pieces of nori, and then just put the sushi rice on top, and then like another piece of nori, and it kind of makes like a little sandwich.
Baby one.
Yeah, that would go really well with that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they were delicious.
Well, I guess that's just about all we have for this episode about meal planning. So thank you so much for joining us. And make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening. Our next episode is going to be all about soups and stews, and it's going to be a good one.
We got a soup lover over here.
Yeah, I love soup, in case you guys haven't figured that out.
You can find us online at theflexitarianfeast.com and on Instagram at theflexitarianfeast. We love it when you leave us comments and send us messages, so please keep doing that. A huge thank you to our producer, Tiki Sound. I'm Eliz.
And I'm Michelle, and we'll see you next time. Until then, eat lots of plants. Oh, and don't forget to enter the giveaway.
Enter the giveaway.
Thank